Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jessica McDonald. I'm a knitting pattern designer and I am coming to you from a tiny town in the mountains of Idaho. Today is August 20th and since it was very cold and rainy yesterday, it was 46 degrees Fahrenheit and rainy. I had to turn my heater on in my house because it was so cold. I decided that today would be a really good day to do my sweater audit. You may be thinking, what on earth is a sweater audit? Once a year, end of the summer, I go through every single one of my hand knit sweaters and I'm looking over them for things like, did I wear it? Did I like it? Did I feel good in it? Did it fit me right? What do I want more of? What do I never wear and should never knit again? And also things like, do I need another cardigan? Or do I wear a lot of heavyweight colorwork yoke sweaters and not a lot of fingering weight sweaters? Which is true in my case. So I'm basically just going through my entire collection of sweaters and figuring out what I wear, what I like, what I don't wear, what I don't like, so that I can take that information and decide what I'm going to knit next. I'm very intentional about what I knit. I don't just knit on a whim. I don't just make something because it's popular, although I did. I knit with mohair because it's popular. Everybody loves it. Do I love it? No, I don't. So sometimes trends are not something that's going to work well in your wardrobe. Just because everybody else loves speckles and everybody else is making stuff with speckles doesn't mean you are going to wear something that's knit out of speckled yarn. I don't like speckles. I tried to knit myself a speckled sweater. That was another trend jump there. I never even completed it because I hated it so much. Every time I put it on as I was knitting it, I was like, oh. So I'm basically just going through my whole collection of sweaters and deciding what I love, what I want to make more of, what I need to make more of, and what I should never knit again. And I think you should do this too, because a lot of the times you can just find that shiny new pattern. Oh, so-and-so released this fantastic sweater and you want to knit it and you buy $200 worth of yarn and you spend 40 to 80 hours knitting this sweater and then you end up hating it and never wearing it. And that is something that I really want to avoid myself, and I think you should try to avoid as well. And the way we can avoid that kind of wasteful knitting or making something you don't like or you never wear is to go through your wardrobe and look at what you do like, what you do wear, what does fit you well, what you feel comfortable in, what you feel like yourself in, and then you can make more of that. So I've got my sweaters here. This is a different view than my usual podcast. I've just turned around, so my desk is there. So usually I have my camera turned around when I do my podcast. But over here on this side of the room is guest bed. And I've got all my sweaters laid out on the bed so that I can see them all. So you have here, this is my stack of cardigans. This is my stack of heavyweight colorwork sweaters. This one's DK weight, the other three are worsted weight. This is my stack of fingering weight sweaters. And, oh, it's falling over. This one is, this one's fingering weight and mohair held together, so it's a DK equivalent to a DK weight. And it's the one I never wear. So I'm going to take you through my whole process of going through my wardrobe and show you basically what I do. Oh, I forgot to bring up my sweater that's in process. Oh dear. I'm going to pause now and go run and get it because that's also an important part of this. Hang on. I'm back with my only whip, my only current whip. If you hear that, don't worry about it. My husband is downstairs making popcorn for them. They're tired as usual. Okay, here's my whip. My one sweater that's in process. So I'm going to go through starting with my cardigans, I think. So last year when I sat down and I went through my sweater audit, I noticed that I only had this cardigan. I only had one cardigan. I like open front shawl collar cardigans. This is my Snowland pattern. This is the only cardigan I had. One cardigan really isn't enough cardigans for me in my wardrobe. So I decided I need to make more cardigans. So between last year's sweater audit and this one, I've made these 2 cardigans. So I probably have enough cardigans, although realistically, as I'm looking at this stack, so I've got 2 neutral colored ones. I do like a warm oatmeal color. It goes with everything in my wardrobe. Looks nice, looks classic. It's timeless. I can wear it 4 or 5 years and it never goes out of style. This one will go with basically everything in my wardrobe because I wear a lot of blue and gray and green. As you can see, I'm wearing blue now. So I'm not just choosing things that I want to knit. I'm also trying to make sure that I build a cohesive wardrobe and make sure that my sweaters also match my shirts and what I'm going to wear them with. Because if nothing matches and I never can wear things together, there's no point in making them if you can't, wear them and have a cohesive outfit. So between last year's sweater audit and this year's, I knit one more neutral colored cardigan, and then this one, it's a nice rust color, which realistically can be worn as a neutral in my wardrobes, given the colors that I generally wear. One other thing that I really like to have is I really like to have a dark green cardigan, like a foresty green color. Green is my favorite color. I do love green. I've only got 2 green sweaters, including my whip. So that's not really enough green sweaters for me. I'd really like to have more green sweaters in my wardrobe. And one thing I really like is a green cardigan. So I might try to find an idea for a green cardigan. Because I design the patterns that I want to wear. So when I design sweater patterns, I'm not just making what I think will be popular or what I think people will like. I also design and I make what I want to wear. So that's a really big part of my knitting, because the reason I design things is because I want to wear them every single day. So starting at the beginning of September, we'll probably have our first frost in like the 1st or 2nd week of September, and I'm going to be wearing sweaters all the way through till the end of next May. So I wear sweaters basically every single day, except for the 3 warmest months of the year, which I might wear one in the morning, but then I'll take it off. So I'm looking at my cardigan stack. I have enough neutral cardigans, but I'd like to have one more richly colored one, preferably a dark green cardigan, which would fit really well in my wardrobe and I would really love it. I did have one made out of Brooklyn tweed shelter. I can't remember what color it was. I want to say Bird Book. It's a darker green, but that one has given up the ghost. So I need to replace it with another dark green cardigan because I just really love to wear a dark green cardigan. Another thing you can do in this sweater audit is you can look at the condition of your sweaters. Like this one, I wear this one a lot. It was my only cardigan for a long time, so it got a ton of wear. And you can see here, move my face, you can see the elbows are really thin. They're really worn, really thin. Where's the elbow? Hang on. I'm trying to show you with the hand inside. Where's the elbow? Here it is. It's around this side. You can see how thin that is. Right there. It's focusing on my face. You can see how thin that is. This is going to break through basically any minute now. So what I really need to do is get the leftover yarn from this project and do some duplicate stitch over this elbow so that it's no longer thin, because I don't want to end up with a giant hole in the elbow. So if I do some mending now, then I won't end up with a crisis later. So this is my cardigan stack. I've gone through it. This is my, this is Snowland, my Snowland cardigan. This is knit in Barrett Wool Co. Wisconsin Woolen Spun, the worsted weight. I don't remember the color of it. It's been 2 or 3 years now. I was pregnant with Aiden when I knit it, so it would have been a little more than 2 years ago. I don't remember the color. This is my Snowberry cardigan that I released this past February. This is in Bare Naked Wool's Stone Soup DK. Also don't remember the color. It's a light oatmeal color. I cannot remember the color name. For the life of me, I cannot. Anyway, this one gets a lot of wear. It's very warm, it's very cozy. I really like how it's got the cable panels in the front, so it adds some interest because most of the time I'm just throwing it on over a t-shirt or a fairly plain shirt like this one. Then this is my latest FO, which I think I'm going to name this one Wildhorse. Look at this, beautiful cozy thing. I love this collar. I love the shawl color. Last podcast episode, I told you I was going to rip out the collar and make it bigger, and I did. And it was so worth it. It's amazing. I'm not gonna do any FO chat here because I want to save that for my next real podcast. This is just about my sweater audit in this video. This one is amazing. Oh, it's amazing. Okay, so there's my cardigans. So now I've looked through my pile of cardigans. I have enough neutral color cardigans. I'd like to have one more cardigan in a dark green color, so I can make a note of that and say, okay, I need to be thinking of a design idea for a cardigan that would work really well in a dark green color. Because when you're doing designs, you have to think of how the colors are going to work with the design. If I do something that's really heavily cabled or textured or has subtle texture or something, I want to make sure that shows up. So doing it in a dark green color isn't always the best idea. So I have to think about the color and the pattern and how it's going to work together when I'm making designs. So there's the cardigan stack. Now we're going to move to the most worn stack. What do you think I wear the most of? My heavyweight colorwork yoke sweaters. So I've got 4 here, and is 4 enough? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So I've got here, my oldest one is Treeline. This one is probably going into its 4th year. And I wear it all the time. It's actually doing really well. It's holding up really well. It's got hair all over it because I've been wearing it a lot. The elbows are not getting thin, which is really nice. This elbow's also not. Maybe at the end of this winter I'll need to do some duplicate stitch over the elbows, but they're looking really well. They're looking really good right now. Yeah, this one looks really good. So I wear this one a lot. It's one of my older ones, and it's kind of got this emotional allure to it because this is the first design I did for Quince Co. It was Treeline and also Little Treeline, which is the kids' version of this design. So it just has really good feelings for me. So I wear this one a lot. And then I also have November's, the next oldest. This one is also knit in Quince Co, but it's a self-published design. This one is actually a little bit small. So I knit this sweater while I was pregnant with Jimmy, and I assumed I would go back to my pre-pregnancy weight, but I did not. After the girls, I went back to my pre-pregnancy weight, but after the boys, I did not. So this one is one size too small. I do still wear it, but it's it really is too tight. I do feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's especially too tight around the arms. So realistically, what I really should do is find somebody skinnier than me and give this to them. Thinking I could give it to my mom because she's a lot skinnier than me and it would fit her nicely. It would be too long for her because I always add length to my sweaters, but so this one I do like, but it's too small. So I do need to remove it from my wardrobe because I just constantly pulling at my arms while I'm wearing it and constantly pulling it down because it tends to ride up and bunch up funny over top of my bust. So this one, even though I love it and it's cozy and fantastic, I really should find somebody who it will actually fit and give it away. Then the next one is Cinder. This one is knit in Primrose Yarn Co. Goodness, I forget the name of the yarn. It's her DK weight yarn. That's a yak merino silk blend. This is one I published last fall. It's got this beautiful yoke, and this one I wear a ton of, an absolute ton of. The yarn is really nice. It's really soft and silky and luxurious, and the design is really bold and impactful. And I tend to wear this one a lot, especially when I'm going to town or I want to be a little bit dressed up, even though I never really dress up. I'll wear this one a lot. It's just kind of got this appeal as one of my nice sweaters, even though all of them are nice sweaters. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the yarn is so much nicer than, well, I guess not necessarily nicer, but a bit more luxurious with the yak and the silk in it. So this one is one of my favorites. This one it marked a big change for me. So I really like gray and blue and green. And previously I had knit all with gray and blue and green, but this time I did orange, which orange was a huge, huge, huge change for me. Just a giant leap out of my color comfort zone. And I love it so much. It looks amazing. It's fantastic. And I love it. So this one is a testament to trying something new. You might love it. You might absolutely love it. This one I wear a ton of. It's not my warmest one, so on really, 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 really brutally cold days, I don't tend to reach for this one because it is a DK weight, so it is a little bit lighter than a worsted weight yarn. So this one isn't the one I reach for on the most brutally cold days, but it is still incredibly warm, and I do wear it a lot. I love it. This one is my coziest sweater. Well, I guess this one is going to be my coziest sweater. This one is my coziest from last year. So this is Ruska. You probably recognize it. I have seen so many Ruskas popping up in Instagram lately. I think a lot of people are making this one for this fall because it is incredibly cozy. I wear this one a lot. This one's probably my most worn sweater from last winter. Even going on into this year, if it's a cold day, I tend to reach for this one and just throw it on over shorts because it's just so warm. It makes me feel really good. I feel kind of cool in it. I'm generally a very, very dorky person. It's just who I am as a person. I generally tend to be dorky, and I generally tend to look really dorky. But when I wear this one, I don't feel dorky. I don't think I look dorky. I feel like I'm kind of casual, rustic chic. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone. But anyway, I feel really cool when I wear this one. I'm not trying to knock any of my other sweaters, but I do tend to make anything I wear look pretty dorky. But this one is my most worn sweater from this last year. The reasons I love it are it's really, really, really warm. And it gets really, 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 really cold here, really cold here. And our house is only kept at 67 degrees Fahrenheit during the winter, which the kids are fine. They're in a t-shirt and no socks, and they're perfectly fine. But I'm just an icicle, so I need to wear nice cozy sweaters, especially when it's a really cold day outside. Even though the house is still the same temperature inside, it just feels colder. For some reason, it just feels colder. So this is my most worn sweater. It is worsted weight yarn. All of the color work, all of these floats from the color work make it thicker in the yoke, I guess all the way down to the upper chest. They make it thicker so it's warmer. Plus it looks really nice, it fits really nice, and I just feel really cool in it. This one is knit out of Barrett Wool Co. Wisconsin Woolen Spun worsted weight. Again, the colors are Quaker gray, Penny is the yellow one, and Pebble is this dark one. This yarn I highly recommend. I highly, highly recommend. Go and buy some. It is really amazingly soft and cozy and warm. And I think the reason that I love this sweater so much is that the yarn is soft. There's no prickle to it at all, and it's woolen spun, so it's really lightweight and lofty, and it holds a lot of your warm air in. It's got a lot of really it's a really good insulator because it's woolen spun. Because when it's woolen spun yarn, the fibers are all kind of jumbled as they're spun, so they hold a lot of air pockets inside the fiber, inside the yarn. But if it's worsted spun, they comb all those fibers straight and then they spin it. So there's not as many little air pockets inside the yarn. So a woolen spun yarn tends to be a little bit warmer than a worsted spun yarn, in my opinion. You can tell me if you agree or not. But anyway, I think a woolen spun yarn is really nice. Plus it's perfect for color work. And I really like the color scheme. Once again, this is outside of my color comfort zone of gray and blue and green. Because, well, I guess it's 2 shades of gray. And then this golden harvest yellow color. But I really love this sweater and I wear a ton of it. And I should try to make more sweaters like this one and this one, because between these two I wear these probably half the time, these two together, these color work sweaters in these colors, light gray, dark gray, and orange or gold. I've worn these a ton. I've worn these so much. So I know that if I make another sweater kind of along the same lines of these two, I will love it and I will wear it to pieces. So I need to come up with some ideas for sweaters that are kind of in this ballpark. Yeah. Now let's move on to fingering weight, which is kind of sad because I don't wear my fingering weight sweaters a lot. I have 3 here. So this one is Abloom. This one is Desert Spring, and this one is Birdsong. Birdsong I wear a little bit more. It's got a short sleeve, so it's a little bit cooler. But you can see the fold lines are sturdily creased into it. It's got this pretty lace hem. I do tend to wear this one a little bit more than the other two, but I really have not worn these sweaters very much at all. I expect that I'll wear them a little more as we go into this fall and it starts to get cold. It's a little bit crisp, but it's not freezing, terribly freezing cold yet. But I didn't wear them at all this spring. I think part of the reason for that is as soon as it gets warm outside, I just go outside and I spend as much time as I possibly can outside. And I don't want to wear my nice hand knit sweaters outside because I'm working in the garden. I'm getting absolutely covered in dirt and filthy. And I'm carrying a filthy toddler on my hips, so it's very dirty. I don't want to get my sweaters all dirty. And so I don't wear them a lot. I just wear a t-shirt and a sweatshirt over top of it because I can just throw that in the wash. So these don't really get worn very much. I'm going to try to wear them some more this fall when it starts to get cold at first, but they're just not heavy enough to be worn all year round. I can't wear a fingering weight sweater in November through March. I just can't, it's just not warm enough for me. So given that I haven't worn any of my fingering weight sweaters, I probably shouldn't knit more fingering weight sweaters because I just don't wear them. So there's that. So this is an important part of the sweater audit as you go through and you look at what you have not worn and think about why you have not worn it and then try not to repeat that, because this is a lot of knitting. This is a ton of knitting time and a ton of beautiful yarn is in these sweaters, and it really is a shame for it to just sit on the shelf in my closet and not be worn. I put so much time into these sweaters, especially in a fingering weight sweater. It takes you even longer to knit it because the yarn is finer. So to not wear it is really disappointing. It's really a shame, and I need to try to wear them and I guess not repeat that. Even though I've got tossing around an idea for a fingering weight colorwork sweater, it's kind of doesn't make any sense at all. Here's another one that hasn't been worn. But the reason this one hasn't been worn is because it has mohair in it. So everybody likes to hold together a strand of lace weight mohair with a strand of fingering weight merino. It's very popular. So many people are doing it. It looks amazing. It looks so fuzzy and soft and cozy. It's got this soft halo about it. Plus it's funky and cool. It's really popular. Everybody's doing it. So I thought, you know what? I'll do it too. But the mohair is very irritating on my skin. I just can't wear it. It just irritates me to no end. And it's not like, okay, so this one is Shetland wool. And when I first put it on, there's a bit of a prickle, but after a few minutes, I stop feeling it and it doesn't bother me at all. This one, I never get over. I'm constantly pulling at the neck because my neck is my most sensitive part of my body. I'm constantly pulling it away from my skin because it's just so irritating. So I don't wear this one because it's made out of mohair. And that's the only reason I don't wear this one. If it wasn't for the mohair, I'd probably wear this one non-stop. It's wood smoke. So I wrote this one as a perfect sweater for a beginner. It's really easy, really easy. It's sized from 3 months old all the way up to a 70-inch chest, 70-inch finished sweater measurement. So you can make this very simple sweater for anybody, infant to adult. Which is fantastic for people who want to make a nice fitting sweater but don't want it to be complicated. And it's got this really simple shape to it, just really simple, very minimalist, and I tend to be pretty minimalist these days. I think if it didn't have any mohair in it, I would wear it incessantly. It's about a DK weight, so it's a DK weight gauge. But I did knit the baby version out of Quince Co Chickadee, which is a sport weight yarn, so sport to DK weight. If you can get gauge, just go with it. But that's the perfect weight for me to wear pretty much year round, is a DK weight sweater. Maybe not on the most brutally cold days. But if this was knit in a nice DK weight yarn that was not irritating to my skin, I think I would wear it several times a week, honestly, because I really like the minimalist shape to it. You know, there's no shaping. It's round yoke, so you don't see shaping in the yoke. There's nothing in the body. It's just a straight body. It's just very simple, very minimalist, and I think I would wear it to bits if there was no mohair in it. So this is another example of things to look for things not to do going forward, is maybe the reason you don't wear that sweater is because you just don't like the yarn. You know, these ones I don't wear because they're fingering weight, they're too light, they're not warm enough for most of the year for me, so that's why I don't wear them. There's no complaints about the yarn here, it's just not heavy enough. This one is heavy enough, but I find the yarn to be incredibly irritating. So that's a really good thing to know going forward. I don't like mohair. Don't knit with mohair ever, ever, ever again. I am kind of thinking about reknitting this design in, I think it would look really good in like a tweedy kind of yarn, like a woolen spun tweedy yarn, and I can make it kind of big with about 6 to 8 inches of positive ease and be like a giant sweatshirt. So cozy. I might do that. I'm gonna stop and then restart it because my camera's about to run out of time. My camera only records for 20 minutes at a time, so ran out of 20 minutes. So I'm thinking about reknitting this one in a different yarn, something that's not irritating to my skin, and knitting it a little bit big so that it's kind of like a giant cozy sweatshirt type. So I was really careful when I did the neckline so that the neckline doesn't get too big in the larger sizes. So if you do want to make something that's like a giant cozy oversized sweatshirt but it's very simple, this would be a fantastic pattern because the neckline's not going to get giant on you as you go into the larger sizes. And yeah, big necklines are a problem in larger sizes in sweaters, and that's something that's a point that I make sure to pay very special attention to make sure the necklines aren't too big. So that's all of my sweaters that I have made. Now I'm going to show you what I'm making, because even though it's still on the needles, it's still going to be part of my wardrobe. It still comes into consideration on my sweater audit. So here is my current whip. You can see here, I've got the body done. The back is done, and I'm working my way up the front. So this is a DK weight, dark green cabled pullover sweater. It's going to have drop shoulders, so it's going to fit a little bit loosely. It's going to have about 5 inches of positive ease for me, which isn't hugely oversized, but it's still going to have a loose fit and feel a little bit, I was going to say sweatshirty, but it's going to be a little more refined than that. But it's still going to be really cozy. So this one I think I'm going to wear a ton of because it's a good weight for me. DK weight is a good weight for me. That's one of my favorite weights to wear. And very importantly, it's my favorite color. Don't underestimate the power of wearing your favorite color. Just wear your favorite color. You will love it. You will be happy wearing it. You will feel like yourself. You will reach for it all the time. So this one is in my favorite color. It's DK weight. It has nice cables on it. It's gonna look really cool. It's gonna look really good wearing it with just a pair of jeans. I just wear jeans and sweaters pretty much 6 days out of 7 year round. In the summer I switch it up to t-shirts and shorts, but this is gonna look really good with just jeans, which is what I wear all the time. I need to get some hand-knit socks to finish off the outfit. It's gonna look fantastic. And I think I'm gonna wear it a lot. Even though I really don't have a lot of cables in my wardrobe. Snowberry has cables on it. This cardigan has cables on it. But I tend to go to a lot of color work. I do a lot of color work or just, you know, one single color, plain color. But I don't have a lot of cables. I do have a little bit of lace. There's a little bit of lace here. This is a lace yoke, which you can't see very well probably. There, you can see it better now. This is Desert Spring. It's got a lace yoke. And there's lace on the hem here. But I don't have a lot of textured knits, and I think that's something that's missing in my wardrobe is a few nice cable pullovers, because cables are just a classic look. They're timeless, absolutely timeless, and they have a lot of textural interest. So instead of it just being kind of a, hang on, let me gather my thoughts. Instead of it being a really minimalist look, when you add cables to your sweater, all of a sudden you have this textural impact. It's really cool, looks really good. So that's what this is gonna be. Cabled sweater. So that is going to get worn a ton, and actually I think I'm going to grab a few things out of my closet here because there's going to be some more things added to my wardrobe over the course of the winter. So I'm going to go grab those real quick. Hang on. Okay, I'm back now. So as part of my sweater audit, I also look at what I'm already planning to make and see how it fits in. So this yarn, this is just the yarn. This is going to be it's the grown-up version of Skift. Skift is the baby sweater I released 2 weeks ago now, I think it was. So this is a DK weight yarn, and it's going to be a colorwork yoke sweater. DK weight yarn, colorwork yoke sweater. It's, you know, going to be basically on the same par as Cinder, which I wear a lot. So I'm going to wear this a lot because I know I wear a lot of DK weight colorwork yoke sweater. So this one is going to get worn to pieces. It is just brown and white, so it is a little bit out of my color, my usual color scheme, but I think I'm going to wear a lot of it because it's a fairly minimal palette, and I do tend to veer a lot towards minimalist clothing nowadays in my old age. I'm just joking, I know I'm not old. So there's something that I'm planning. It's going to fit perfectly into my wardrobe. I know I'm going to wear it a lot because it is very similar to something that I already have, that I already wear a lot. It's got a lot of the same qualities, the same weight, same general style. Then, so you all love Woodland Ramble, right? All my Woodland Ramble sweaters. Here's all the sweaters. So I'm going to turn these are all the kid sizes. This is going to come out this fall, this collection of kids patterns. You all love these sweaters, absolutely love these, especially Tamarack. So I'm going to turn these all into adult versions. Well, who do you think is going to get to wear all those sweaters? Me! It's fantastic. It's awesome. So I'm going to add to my sweater wardrobe over the course of this fall and winter the adult versions of these 4 sweaters. So we have here worsted weight colorwork yoke sweater in my favorite color, green, gray, and white. I know that I will wear this incessantly. This might become my most worn sweater because it is worsted weight, which is the heavier weight, like Ruska is a worsted weight. It's the coziest weight that I generally knit with. I don't like to knit with a bulky or super bulky or an Aran weight yarn. It's just uncomfortable for my hands. So it's the heaviest weight that I like to knit with. It has a colorwork yoke. It's in my favorite color. I'm never going to take it off. I know that. I know I am going to absolutely love this sweater because I know that I already wear worsted weight colorwork yoke sweaters all the time. And it's my favorite color, so can't go wrong with that. Then I'm also going to add to it a shawl collar cardigan. This is worsted weight, which 2 out of 3 of my cardigans are worsted weight. The other one is a DK weight. So I know I wear worsted weight shawl collar cardigans all the time. I'm probably not going to do buttons on mine because I just like to have them open front, which my mother tells me all the time, you need to do a real cardigan with buttons. I just don't like them, Mom. So I'm going to make myself a grown-up tamarack. It's got really minimal texturing, which will add some visual interest to it, but it will still not be too overpowering. So I think I'm going to wear this one a ton as well because, once again, I know that I like worsted weight shawl collar open front cardigans, and that's going to be what this is. So I know I'm going to love that. Realistically, you know how I was talking at the beginning of the video about how I wanted to have a dark green cardigan? I should probably knit this one in this color green because then it would be my dark green cardigan. Might need to do that. I will have to think about that. That is part of why I do this. So maybe I should knit this one in dark green instead of caramel, but I do really like caramel. It's a really nice color, but it's also very similar to this cardigan that I already have. So maybe I should knit this one in dark green instead of the caramel color. Then that kind of throws off my whole color scheme of my collection. I'll have to think about that. I'll have to devote some serious thought to that because, yeah. I want to make sure it's something that I wear, but since I'm going to be making this into a book, again, I want to make sure my collection looks really good together and really cohesive, and the colors are a really big part of that. So I do have to balance wardrobe desires with making my collection look cohesive. Realistically, I mean, honest, would 2 sweaters in this color be a problem? No. And then I could just knit another cardigan in green, right? Right. Knitting more sweaters is never a problem, right? If you're here, I'm sure you agree with me on that. Then I'm going to be adding one of these. This is cedar. This is sport weight. I don't actually have any sport weight sweaters. I have fingering, DK, and worsted weight sweaters. I don't have any in sport weight. So I'm not sure if this will be a good weight for me. Maybe it would make a nice transitional piece. It's a little bit warmer than the fingering weight ones. Plus it is a woolen spun yarn and it is colorwork, so it will have the floats behind here, making it a little bit warmer. So maybe it'll be warm enough to wear all winter, but I'm not sure. Either way, I will be getting one of these in my wardrobe as well, which I know I will love because it's colorwork yoke. It's got the gray background, dark green, which is my favorite color, and then caramel, which I'm really, really loving. The caramel rust color schemes right now. That really warm autumnal color is really, really making me happy right now. So I'm sure I will love this one. So there's two more colorwork yoke sweaters that are going to be added to my wardrobe, which I wear a ton of, so I know that will end well. Then there's also this one, Birch. So Birch is a drop shoulder cabled sweater. It's also knit in sport weight yarn. So I don't know if that will be the right weight for me or not. But it's going to be pretty similar to this one. They share a lot of qualities. They're both drop shoulders. I guess they're modified drop shoulder technically. They're both cabled. Both are going to have a crew neckline like this with a folded collar and plain sleeves with a folded cuff. So these two are going to share a lot of qualities. But I'm a little bit unsure about this one because I don't have any drop shoulder sweaters in my wardrobe at all. This will be my first one. This green one will be my first one. So I don't know for sure if I'm going to wear this all the time or not. I don't know. I think I will, but I don't know for sure because I don't have it in my wardrobe currently. So maybe instead of, grabbing my drop shoulder cable sweater, I'll just grab my colorwork yoke sweater 7,000 times. So that's something that I'm not sure if I'm going to wear a ton of, but I do really like it. It looks really nice. It's gray. I really love gray. My sisters make fun of me for knitting with so much gray, but I really, really, really love it. And you should just make things in the colors that you love to work with, that you love to wear. Who cares if it's a flattering color for you or not? Just wear it if you love it. So yeah, a gray cabled sweater. It's going to be fairly casual, but there'll be a lot of textural interest from the cables. I think it'll look really nice with jeans and boots once again, which is, I wear a lot of jeans and boots. But then I could possibly also layer it over top of dresses and skirts. It's gray, so it will go with basically any color dress or skirt. So I, as it gets cooler and I want to wear my dresses, I can just pop this over top. Because I'm going to make mine gray as well. It's going to be essentially identical to this, but I think I'll make the cables bigger. So those are things that are going to be added to my wardrobe over the course of the winter. So I know I'm going to be adding a lot of things that I love, which are the colorwork yoke sweaters and a shawl collar cardigan and another colorwork yoke sweater. But there's also something that is kind of an experimental sweater. Maybe I'll love it, maybe I won't. Sometimes you gotta try something new. Like when I made these two, I was really not sure if I was gonna like them because orange and this harvest gold are way out of my color comfort zone. They're in it now because I used them and I loved them. But previously I had not used them and I was very unsure as to whether I would wear them or not. So sometimes sticking with what you love is fantastic and you're going to wear it, but sometimes also it can be good to try something new because your style constantly evolves. But you do want to seriously think about it. These are colorwork yoke sweaters, which I wear a lot of colorwork yoke sweaters, so I knew that this style was right up my alley. Even if the color was a little bit outside of my color comfort zone. So I was making a mindful decision there. I wasn't just crazily deciding to go for some wild colors. Wild, mostly gray colors. But yeah, sometimes it's good to try something new. So will be my something new. And this one's my favorite color. This one is also one of my favorite colors. So I do think that I will wear a lot of them because I love these colors and I really think they'll look fantastic with jeans, and I just wear jeans all the time. So I think that these ones will find a really happy place in my wardrobe. So even though there's something that I haven't worn before, I'm making an informed decision when I'm making them. So there's my sweater audit. Hopefully that inspires you all to take a good hard look at your own wardrobe, because you don't want to spend so much time and so much money making something and then you just never wear it. Like this one, I never wear. That's just, honestly, it feels kind of heavy in my wardrobe to have something that I devoted so much time and love to, I don't wear it. I really, really want to avoid that situation where I make something that I don't wear. So that's why every single year I go through my whole wardrobe in great detail and make very informed decisions about what I'm making going forward. So that's the whole point of this. Hopefully I didn't come off too rambly. I know I get a little rambly when I talk about sweaters and knitting. So I say so a lot. So I know I'm going to love this one. This one honestly is going to be my new favorite sweater. I'm not kidding. I'm going to love this one best. I'm sure of it. Yeah. So I'm adding a lot of colorwork sweaters in the colors that I love. Another cardigan in a color that I love. A color that I love, and I think I'm going to love the style as well, but something a little bit different, which is often good to try something a little bit different. I really encourage you to be very mindful about what you choose to make, the materials that you use, the pattern that you use. Think about how it's going to fit into your wardrobe. Think about how you're going to wear it. Think about what you already love to wear, what makes you feel good, what makes you happy, what shapes you like to wear. Like I really like to wear the colorwork yoke sweaters. I really like that shape, the round yoke shape. And then as you're going forward into this year, instead of just finding whatever shiny new pattern is coming out or whatever yarn is trending this year, you can instead choose things you know you're gonna love. Choose the patterns you know you're gonna love and use yarns you know you're gonna love. And then at the end of, your giant pile of money spent on yarn and your hours and hours and hours and hours knitting, then you can be sure you have a sweater that you really love and you're going to wear a lot of, because there's no point in knitting a sweater if you don't wear it. That's just, honestly, it's wasted time. You could have spent that time making something else that you would have really adored. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. But intentional wardrobe building is something that I'm really getting very seriously into, not just in my knitting, but also in everything else that I buy as well. Making sure that I'm buying things that I'm really gonna love, that are gonna last for a while, and that will fit really nicely into my wardrobe instead of, impulsively buying fast fashion or something like that. My spiel. Maybe I'll get off my soapbox now, but I really encourage you to take a good hard look at what you love to make and what you love to wear, and then make more of that, because I want you to love every sweater you make, and I want you to wear it till it falls off of you as little tatters. So there's my wardrobe audit. I guess not a whole wardrobe audit, my sweater audit. And next time I come back, I will give you a proper knitting podcast and talk about this one. And I suppose I'll also have this one. Maybe this one will be an FO. I want to come back in 2 weeks and podcast every 2 weeks. I'm going to try it. We'll see if it works. Probably won't, but hopefully in 2 weeks I'll have this one done, because I'm almost done with the front. Okay, I'm going to go. I think this has probably been long enough. I hope you all are having a fantastic end of your summer, or start of your summer if you're watching this in the Southern Hemisphere, and I will see you all later. Bye guys.